How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to Route Double. We are moving into the next area now to continue our search to look for AD before we all die of radiation poisoning, which, you know, our main character he's on his way. Anyway, the group opened the security gate and walked through the connecting passageway. They were totally out of AD, and they were still in a situation that left no margin for error. It's not just me, it's an issue that we need to think about in the next hour. Yeah. I'm happy with that. The last time they'd taken AD was at 10:16 AM. They had to find 6 more AD by the time their effects wore off at 11:16 AM. Even though they just learned that their co-worker had died, there was no time to grieve. That was probably why Kazami was putting on such a brave face. Watase quietly walked over to her and whispered, "Tachibana, are you sure you're okay?" "Captain, your concern is unneeded. It is more important that you worry about yourself." "Alright, let's hurry on ahead." "Yes." Watase and Kazami said this, then broke off into a run down the connecting passageway. But the moment they rounded the corner, everyone came to a dead stop. What the... That part of the passageway was partially flooded. A fire hose had been left lying around not too far ahead. Water poured out of it, creating a puddle in the passageway. "Oh, come on, it's just a puddle. Let's get a move on already. It's electrified." "No, look more closely, Teach." Watase pointed to the wall. Part of it had collapsed, most likely due to an explosion. Something that appeared to be a disconnected cable jotted out of there, touching the puddle and shooting sparks. Is that a high voltage line? What in the world caused this and why? Perhaps someone was trying to hose down something and then this happened by coincidence. Coincidence? Could something like this really have happened naturally? He thought this for a second, then chose not to say anything. Well, whatever caused it, we still need to think of a way to get past it. Watase stared at the puddle intently. It was about 5 or so meters wide. If one were to get past that and pull the cable out of the puddle, then everyone else could walk through it normally. But the problem was that it was right in front of the curve, meaning there wasn't any room to get a running start. Watase took some lint out of his pocket and threw it into the puddle as a test. That alone caused fierce sparks to flash. Damn it, one step in this thing and we'll be toast. Are there any other ways to Area 4? There should be. It'll be a bit roundabout, but let's take a detour. As soon as Kazami said that, words poured out of Watase's head on instinct. Wait, time's too short for that. Huh? What do you plan on doing? Oh, come on, only 5 meters without a running start? That distance is nothing to me. Watase said those words with the kind of confidence in him. Not only are we pressed for time, but Tachibana and Moribei must be real down after having just lost their squad mate. So what, you wanted to have them lose another squad mate? So I've got to do something myself in order to rally them up. You want to get rid of the depressed atmosphere that had taken hold of them, even if it meant braving such a great danger. Make some room, guys. Come on, Mr. Ikita. Teach, you too. Watase forced everyone to move to the edge of the passageway, clearing enough space for him. Wait, Captain, you're not gonna... Jun shouted that once she realized what Watase was up to. Watch me, Moribei. Watase ran right up to the puddle with the initial velocity of a 3-step running start and jumped. Ha! Pale sparks flew at his feet as soon as he landed. Watase flinched for a moment, but the shock he was expecting never came. Most likely because the only part of him that had named in the puddle was his soles. They're probably made of rubber or something. I mean, if you're in a rescue suit, surely you'd be wearing gumboots or something that protect you from electricity. He heard Kazami call out from behind him. "Captain, you alright?" "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm going to take care of the cable now." Watase then proceeded to pull the cable out of the puddle. "Okay, it should be safe now, guys." "No, hold on a sec, people. I'll go in first to check." Jun approached the puddle just as Watase had said, and then stepped in it as softly as she possibly could. But nothing happened. "Yeah, it's okay. Looks safe now." "Come on, guys. No need to worry." As soon as they heard that, everyone ran through the puddle and up to Watase. "That was a close call, Captain Kasasagi. I think I had a heart attack from just watching that." "I picked you as being more rational than that, but it appears you have this reckless side to you as well." Since we've lost our memory, we've only had the reckless side. "You scared the crap out of me. I mean, I knew your physical abilities were next to none, but still." So even though your memory's gone, you still remembered your physical limits, huh? That's our captain for you. The gloom that had covered Jun's face just minutes ago had receded greatly. Watase breathed a mental sigh of relief and then turned to his thoughts. Was it that face that gave me the confidence to think I could pull that off? Then it appeared it was his courage and willpower that determined whether or not he could act. And unlike everyone else, Kazami's reaction was cold. Don't commend his actions, Mortabe. And just what are you so happy about, Captain? Huh? Disaster sites are no place to show off your physical abilities. If we have a safer plan of action available, then we need to take it. Especially after what you did back in the Area 3 outer ring. Though Kazami's tone of voice was compromised, it was composed, there was a fiery anger behind her words. I'm sorry, I got impatient again. Kazami said nothing and glared at Watase. The rest of the group watched the proceedings from a distance. Finally, Kazami broke the silence with a sigh. Just so long as you understand that, that's fine. Obviously he doesn't, because he's done it twice now. Though that said, let's not waste the extra time the captain has brought us. Onwards. Kazami looked away from Watase in a huff and started walking off. Man, that sucks. You finally did something really cool and all it got you was a scolding, huh? Well, it wasn't baseless. What she said was completely right. No matter how much strength and courage he had, unless he could make sound decisions, he was merely putting his own life in danger. That was probably what Kazami was trying to say. Well, it may have got me another lecture, but I'm glad that Tachibana and Mortabe look like they're feeling better now. Watase and the others followed Kazami, as that thought passed through his head. The group entered Area 4's inner ring on floor B1. What they found there was essentially the splitting image of Area 3. Jun checked her Procyon. Contamination levels at 2164 microsieverts right now, so it really is climbing up and up. Do we need to hurry? But before Watase could say any more, a voice suddenly came out of his PDA.
Serious Commander Murakami, Kasasagi, do you read me?
The radio? Kazami quickly reacted to Watase's surprise. I reported you were unharmed earlier, which is probably why he's contacting you and not me. Please answer him. Yeah. Watase frantically took out his PDA and replied, Yes, this is Kasasagi, over.
Kasasagi, been trying to reach you finally got through.
The radio waves were clearly in worse condition than they'd been in the earlier call. The commander started relaying orders with what little he could get through.
What are your status?
Right, actually, we found bodies.
What's that? Didn't catch you?
We found 3 corpses in the facility, and they'd all been murdered. One of them was Dojima.
What?
Can you hear me? We found the bodies of Dojima and 2 researchers. They'd all been murdered.
Murdered?
There were bullet holes in the bodies. The killer might have escaped the facility. Please check to make sure none of the people who exited the facility have guns on them.
Gun?
Can you hear me? I repeat. Please check to make sure none of the people who exited the facility have guns on them.
Check. Guns, right. Understood. Leave it.
It seemed he managed to get the abnormality of the situation through to the commander.
Breaking up again. Have a message for you.
The commander went for a change of plans, speaking without waiting for any responses.
Of Lambos, fibers, amongst the protect.
What?
But priority on protecting the
You mean Yuri? I can't hear you, Commander. Please repeat that.
girl named Protector.
Protector Gill, are you talking about Yuri?
Counting on her together with Tachibana and Mortabe.
You're telling me to work with them to rescue the survivors, aren't you? Watase glanced at Kazami and Jun, who both gave him deep nods. Got it. Just leave it to me.
Counting on.
The transmission cut there. Watase put his PDA away and turned to the rest of the group. Did you guys catch all that? You don't even have to ask. Let's hurry up with the search of Area 4. Hey, Mr. Ikita, what kind of area is this? Oh, we call it the brain. The reason why is because this is where we handle most of the data processing, and because we have a supercomputer in here called Brain Cell. A supercomputer? Where is it? The mainframe itself is in the outer ring, but it's controlled from right here in the inner ring. It's this way. Follow me. The group trailed behind Ukita as he led the way. He guided them to a nearby door that read, System Control Room. As soon as he opened the door, the sight of a giant screen built into the walls flooded their eyes. Vast amounts of what appeared to be data flickered on and off at dizzying speeds. Wow, feels like a military command center. What kind of machine is this? Ah, well, Brain Cell takes care of the batch processing of all the information handled by Labo. When you say all the information, exactly what are we talking about here? I mean everything. From test data analysis, calculations, and even infrastructure systems like the electricity, the lighting systems, the AC, the plumbing, and so on. It still operates even during a case in. Look at these numbers here. Yukita pointed to some of the numbers on the edge of the screen. The time, 1816, and the number 14,581 microsieverts was sitting there side by side. 1816 refers to the time the lockdown is scheduled to lift at. Just another 8 hours or so, huh? Looks like the estimate the commander gave us was more or less on the mark then. Indeed, he said the engineers were currently repairing the system from the surface. But that data is calculating the time it will take for the repairs to be done, and for the lockdown to be lifted. Is it possible the lockdown will be lifted before the estimated time? It probably won't be easy. The majority of the processing necessary for the system's restoration is carried out by Brain Cell here. The estimate itself was made by Brain Cell. Even if the time is off slightly due to some artificial error, I doubt that they can get it done faster than this. I see, then what about this 14,581 microsievert thing? What's that about? Huh? Oh, that's... Yukita hesitated for a moment before he spoke. That's the radiation level in Area N. What? Area N's contamination is already that bad? Watase shuddered. Well, surely it's not going to get any worse, right? In Area N, it's already going to be at maximum all the time. The thought that nearly 15,000 microsieverts of radiation was floating around Area N left him unable to even breathe. It was a land of death where every single step would most likely cost one their life. It appears that Area N's dosimeter is still active, but maybe we would be better off not knowing? No, it's better to be safe than sorry. We would have needed to know just how dangerous Area N was eventually. Yeah, I guess that's Labo's Elephant's Foot, huh? Elephant's Foot? That's what they call the place with the highest radiation levels in the Chernobyl nuclear accident. Its highest level is approximately 80,000 microsieverts. They say that anyone who was close to it died in just a few seconds. Of course, the numbers this time around are much better compared to that, but still. So now we're positive we'll be screwed if we go to Area N. The difference between 15,000 microsieverts and 80,000 microsieverts didn't mean a whole lot when it came to radiation. They were both still extremely lethal doses. Both Chernobyl and Labo were crazy worlds where abnormal levels of radiation flew around freely. Anyway, I'm glad that Brain Cell is still functioning, even in this horrid situation. This place also controls the opening and shutting of the security gates, so if this ever broke, then our search would be at a permanent end. Wait, the gates are controlled by this? So that means... Can we possibly open the bulkhead from here? Everyone's eyes widened when they heard Kazami's proposal. Mr. Akita, can it be done? I don't know, but it's still worth a try. Akita walked up to the control booth and spoke. I'll take care of this. The rest of you should continue with the search. There's no reason for all of us to stay here after all. Alright, then let's search Area 4 while he's checking on the bulkhead angle. Yes. Mr. Akita, we're counting on you. The group left Akita behind and exited the system control room. As soon as they left, Kazami addressed the others. Then let's split into groups of 2 again. Who'll go with who? Miss Yudi and I will go together. I'll keep her under proper supervision. Huh? Though that said, you don't have to do all that much, so long as you help out only when I'm sure it's safe enough. That's good enough for me. Oh, okay. Yudi obediently nodded her head. Then everyone else with me, okay? Yeah. This does seem like a good balance. Then we'll search this floor, so I'd like to ask the rest of you to search B2. Yeah, I mean, if we don't find some AD soon, I'll be in deep shit. Right, then let's hurry. With those words serving as a signal to all of them, the group then split up to begin their search. Watase, Jun and Enna quickly went to the stairwell so they can get down to B2. But the emergency staircase had completely collapsed. Great. We can't go down like this. Yeah, it's way too dangerous, and I don't mean for Miss Tsubakiyama either. Even a rescue worker like me wouldn't try it. There should be an emergency staircase in the outer ring. Let's go down that one. Everyone nodded at Enna's suggestion and left the room. They then hurried over to the outer ring stairwell. Fortunately, the stairs were still intact. Good, looks like we can get down this one. But to be accurate, the stairs weren't totally in one piece. The ones that lead to the surface have been destroyed, leaving only B1 to B2 staircase intact. But why are all the staircases broken? No real point worrying about that now. Even if they weren't, there'd just be bulkheads waiting for us. The only stairs to the surface that are still intact are in Area 2. The group descended the staircase as they talked. However, Watase twitched as soon as he began walking down. Is it just me or is it kinda hot? Now that you mention it, it's burning down here. Literally. John reached the final step as soon as she said that. On the other side of the door was floor B2. They could feel the heat and hear some sort of bursting sound coming from it. Watase checked the door with his PDA's IRT scanner to be safe, only to find that the fireproof door was bright red. Wait, I'll open it. You shouldn't open it, it's red. Watase said that and nervously opened the door. A hot wind blew in his face the moment he opened it. This is worse than I thought. I don't think we can put out this one unless we can get the lieutenant over here. But at that moment, a strange sound rang out as though it were trying to cut off Jun. What was that? It's the Procyon's alarm. Watase dumbfoundedly took his Procyon out. The reading was at 4,331 microsieverts, past the first danger standard. Why'd it raise so much just now? Is the radiation down here that bad? This is bad. The radiation level's too dangerous for the captain to handle with only half an AD. Wait, I thought... Yes, and with these flames, Enid looked out into the fire at that moment. And when she did, her eyes suddenly widened. Huh? What's wrong? Watase followed Enid's somewhat astonished gaze. And what he found was... a girl standing on the other side of the flames. Miss Sanamiya? Watase recognized that name. Louise Yui Sanamiya was the name of one of Enid's students who'd possibly been trapped in Labo. If she doesn't move, those flames are going to eat her alive. Hey, you okay? But Louise didn't answer his calls. She just gave him a sharp look that almost looked like a glare. Calm down, you don't have to be afraid of us. We came here to save you. More importantly, the area is badly contaminated. You need to inject yourself with this anti-radiation inhibitor called AD or you'll... I'm going to leave it like that. But as he said that, the girl turned around and ran off. Huh? Wait, why'd she run away? I don't know, but we have to go after her. Roger that. I'm coming to... It's too dangerous. Stay here and leave this to us. Once Jun said that, she and Watase went dashing off at the same time. The girl was nimbly weaving her way through the gaps between the flames as she ran. Louise, why are you running away? It's me, Jun. Despite Jun's shouts, the girl didn't stop running. The entrance to the inner ring connecting passageway came into view. The girl took a card out and then slid it into the slot. She then ran through the now open gate and disappeared behind it. She has a card? Where did she even find one? The gate soon started to close. Wait. Watase and Jun made a mad dash through the gate. There were no signs of fire in the connecting passageway, but they couldn't see the girl anymore. She'd probably run off to the inner ring. Let's hurry and find her before the fire spread. But just as Jun was saying this, the Procyon's alarm grew even louder. Jun looked at the Procyon in surprise. It read 9,307 microsieverts. Oh, come on, give us a break. The number was past the second danger standard. Kazami's explanation then suddenly echoed in Watase's head. Our lives are at great risk there, even with AD. And I don't even have a full dose of AD in me right now. And the fact the alarm had gone off as soon as they'd gone through the connecting passageway meant all the areas in the inner ring are probably contaminated. And it's probably only going to get worse the further in you go, my dude. But you didn't have time to hesitate. The girl was being constantly bathed in high-level radiation while they were standing around. Let's go, we can't leave that girl here. She spoke in a clear voice as though she were trying to cheer herself up. But Watase, afraid of radiation exposure, hesitated. Hey look, I'm scared too, but we have to go. But... You coward, fine, then I'll go by myself. Those words finally snapped Watase out of it. Wait, I'm coming too. Watase broke off into a run, doing his best to catch up to Jun. They exited the connecting passageway and entered the inner ring. You take the left. Jun then proceeded to run off toward the right. Yeah. Watase took off in the other direction, looking for the girl. The alarm was getting louder and louder. Watase suddenly felt a headache from the repeated echo of the sound. No, it's not because of the alarm. Are those the effects of the radiation? Just then he felt a scorching sensation around his arms. Did I get burned? He quickly rolled up his sleeves to check, but he found no burns anywhere. Now that I think about it, Tachibana did say the effects of the radiation were prone to manifesting in the skin. He did his best to ignore it and continue searching for the girl. Just then, there she is. He saw the girl approaching the Area 5 connecting passageway. If she went through that gate, he wouldn't be able to keep chasing her. Wait, please wait! Watase desperately called out to her, but the girl just kept running. However, there was something off about the way she did so. Watase looked closer and noticed that there was a bandage wrapped around her upper arm. She got hurt, and that only proved that he had to bring her under his protection as soon as possible. Watase ignored his headache and tried to chase after her when... Stop. Don't follow me. A voice echoed in his head. Don't chase her. Stop right there. It was the same voice he'd heard in his head when he tried to save Yuri. But now I was trying to stop him from rescuing that girl. Shut the hell up! Watase shook off the voice and chased after the girl. But a second later, the pain in his head suddenly magnified. Watase instinctively leaned against the wall. What's happening? A light shone in front of his eyes. At the same time, his vision was rapidly devoured into darkness. And with that, his consciousness was in eternal darkness. Without the ability to rely on his five senses, he had no clue where he was. His hazy mind just barely managed to construct that thought. He then made out the sound of someone breathing nearby. How did you get here? Sheesh, Captain Kasasagi. You should do weigh a ton. When he opened his eyes, he saw half of someone's face. It seemed someone was walking while carrying him on their shoulder. Captain Kasasagi? Who's that? As soon as he thought this, did everything come back to him. That's right, I fell unconscious. Watase's five senses swiftly recovered with that thought. Teach? Oh, you're awake. Captain Kasasagi, you okay? Where am I? Why are you... The last thing Watase remembered was chasing that girl. Did you save my life? Oh, I'm gonna bump you up for that. There you go. Bam. Well, maybe not all the way. He tried to recall what happened after that, but all he found was a total blank. Miss Mortabe found you lying in the inner ring and brought you all the way back to the emergency staircase. She's currently putting out the fire on floor B2 with Miss Tachibana. So they asked me to take you back to the control room. So that's what happened. Sorry for giving you so much trouble. You got that right, it was hell to carry you and your heavy carcass all the way up those stairs, you know. Watase gave Ina a wry smile, and suddenly remembered something. By the way, what happened with that girl? Well, according to Miss Mortabe, it seems Miss Sanamiya got away. She said she searched the entire contaminated zone in the inner ring, but didn't even find a trace of her. Did she run away to another area? Watase had no clue where she disappeared to. He felt like he'd seen her running off somewhere just before he collapsed. But he'd been hit with a particularly painful headache right after that, causing his memories around that point to be extremely vague at best. But he knew for a fact that she'd run away. Why'd she run off like that? No clue. Got any ideas? None. But thinking back on it, Yuri had clearly been scared back when he first met her. Perhaps Watase's face looked especially frightening to them in an environment like this. No, or maybe the girl had also found those bodies. Anyone would be shaken after seeing something like that. In the end, Watase was no closer to figuring out the truth. Watase sighed and moved away from Ina. Can you walk? Yeah. Anyway, she ran off into a contaminated zone, so it's possible she's been exposed to radiation. Actually, there might be some hope on that front. Ina said that and took something out. It was an empty AD ampule. What's that? It was lying near the staircase. If Miss Sanamiya was the one who used it, then that gives her at least some protection. And I guess she'll be okay if she stays out of any more contaminated zones, huh? But he couldn't be optimistic. It was very unlikely that she had a Procyon. Ina continued talking. She'll be fine. Truth be told, that girl's a prodigy who excels at almost everything. A prodigy? Right, I just know she's the kind of girl who can figure out a way to survive by herself. I see, that definitely is hopeful. Even if it was only a faint hope, Watase felt he should believe in it. The pair exited the connecting passageway and made it to the door to the control room. Yuri was waiting out there. Did something happen? Looks like the Captain Kasasagi here passed out right after he went into the contaminated zone. You went into a contaminated zone? Yudi walked over to Watase with a shock adorning her face. Why did you pass out? Well, I got this real bad headache all of a sudden, so I don't really remember it all that well. But maybe it was some kind of radiation damage. Radiation can damage your brain cells, you see. At least that's what Tachibana said. Oh no. Yudi stared hard at Watase. Are you worried about me? Huh? No. I see. Yudi's response was surprising, but also heartwarming. She'd been acting like she didn't want to go near Watase the whole time she'd been with them. He didn't know why that was, but the concern she'd shown just now seemed to be proof that she was becoming a bit more comfortable around him. Is it because of all the times I've risked my life? Watase then gave Yudi a smile. It's okay, Yudi. This is just our way of life. We'd be out of a job if we made civilians, especially young girls, worry about us. Oh my, you're finally starting to sound like a man of your station, Captain Amnesia. Well, the amnesia aside, I still am a bona fide rescue worker, you know. This is just my way of playing it cool. Just as he said that, it suddenly hit Watase. His subordinates were currently fighting the fires down on floor B2. Crap, I should be helping Tachibana and Mortabe out. You guys wait in the control room. Huh? Are you sure you're okay? You only just fainted a few minutes ago. Yep, I'm already as good as new, so I gotta make up for lost ground. Sheesh, you're such a tough guy. Watase started running off toward the emergency staircase as he heard Ena say that. Then Watase ran down the emergency staircase. The sea of flames was still there. His Procyon alarm beeped a second later. It read 4452 microsieverts. That was a dangerous level of radiation to Watase, given that he'd only injected himself with a half dose of AD. His skin immediately felt uncomfortable and his headache swiftly came back with a vengeance. But I can't be the only one not doing anything here. You could see Kazami and Jun holding two hoses as they desperately suppressed the fire. The sound of the Procyon alarm beeping in the background. Watase gnashed his teeth and quickly ran over to them. Oh, you came back. Captain, are you sure you're okay? Yeah, no worries. Your face is your concern is unnecessary. Anyway, is there something I can do to help? Watase checked the area to find nearly all of it engulfed in flames. With the air full of heat waves and steam, every breath he took felt like it was setting his lungs on fire. Oh yeah, we wish he could help us put out those fires, it's just... this fire is already beyond human help at this point. But figuring it was better than doing nothing, Watase started looking for a fire extinguisher when... some of the nearby flames surged upwards fiercely. A tongue of flame which had been licking at the ceiling nimbly wavered toward the floor. What? Oh shit, it's rolling over! It will never last against that. All hands retreat. Even Watase could tell that whatever was happening was no laughing matter. But at that moment... oh, not now! A headache strong enough to numb his whole body hit Watase, forcing him to lean against the wall. Captain? Oh no, Mortabe, give me a hand. Kazami and Jun threw aside their hoses and carried Watase from both sides. Captain, please hang in there. Come on, we gotta get out of here. They did their best to essentially drag him over to the landing of the emergency staircase, but then Watase turned around and witnessed a strange phenomenon. What's that? The smoke surrounding the fire turned yellow. Jun and Kazami gasped when they saw it. No, if this keeps up, it's coming. But he didn't know what it was. Watase was sure of that. At that moment, all sound vanished from the world. It was like even time itself had stopped. 1 second before Watase was hit with the death he knew was coming for him, a memory replayed in his head. Just hand it over. What have you done? I had no choice. Taking it wasn't going to get us anywhere. Things would have probably turned out differently if Watase had taken a full AD back then. Oh man, that was ages ago. But it was far too late to regret it. The yellow flames turned into a sinister black, and then... red hot gas and swelled up through the block, instantly incinerated the three of them into ashes. And we're dead. Again. Man, that's quite far back. I don't even know if I have a save point right there. I'll bring you back. Okay. So, I've changed it so that Tachibana took the half AD. And we took a full one. Nothing else has changed. We still passed out looking for Miss Sanamiya. And now we're back down in the flames where we died just before. Let's carry on from here. We found the sea of flames still there. We could see Kazami and Jun holding two hoses. They desperately suppressed the fire. The sound of the Procyon's alarm beeping in the background. Oh, you came back. Captain, are you sure you're okay? Your concern is unnecessary. Anyway, is there anything I can help with? I'd like you to help us put out the fire, but, well... Oh man. I'm gonna save again because I'm scared of getting myself killed. Watase checked the area around him as he listened to Jun. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Everywhere except for where Kazami and Jun were standing was engulfed in flames. The area was full of heat waves and steam. Every breath he took felt like it was setting his lungs on fire. It's too dangerous for you in your current condition. Please fall back. No, firefighting's all about teamwork. There must be something I can do too. Oh man, I'm gonna die again. Watase stood frozen in place. I watched the fire from the rear. That way I can let you know of something strange. Yes, thank you, Captain. Much obliged. The two of them shouted that and continued hosing down the fire. This fire looks far beyond the control of human hands at this point. Just as Watase thought that, some of the nearby flames surged upwards fiercely. What? A tongue of flame that had been licking at the ceiling nimbly waved toward the floor. It was almost like the writhing of a giant snake. Hey guys, what's that? Oh shit, it's rolling over. We'll never last against that. All hands retreat. Even Watase could tell that whatever was happening was no laughing matter. This way, guys. Watase opened the emergency staircase door. Kazami and Jun threw aside their hoses at the same time and ran for the stairs. Watase followed them on nigh instinct. Hurry. The whole group crowded their way up the stairs as fast as they could. Watase closed the fireproof door to the stairwell as soon as they made it back to B1. Not even a second later, the door shook with a roar. Watase was knocked down by the shockwave occurring on the other side. He landed on his side and felt a keen pain run through the area around his ribs. He quickly shut the door again as he groaned. It looked like an explosion had happened downstairs, and that blast had made it all the way up the stairs. If it had even been a second slower, that thought sent shivers down Watase's spine. What was that explosion? A flashover. A phenomenon where an explosion occurs when a fire that's covering an entire area suddenly goes through thermal expansion. You see how those flames were rolling like they were alive, right? That was a forewarning to it, so to speak. So that's why he told us to run. If they'd stayed there, they'd all be burning to death right now. I know, I've done that already. Watase gulped as it fully hit him how ferocious the fire had been. His ribs still ached from when he'd been knocked to the floor. But I'm glad we're all in one piece. He looked at Kazami as he said that, only to find her leaning against the wall, her hand gripping her head. Tachibana, what's wrong? The radiation? Nothing, just got a bit dizzy and a little headache all of a sudden. A headache? Could it be because you went downstairs without enough AD? The fiery hallway they just escaped from had a reading of 4,300 microsieverts, according to the Procyon. That was way over the first danger standard. An extremely dangerous zone to those without any AD. Hey, you okay, Tachibana? I'm fine, no problems at all. But to think the radiation would... If they were subjective symptoms of radiation damage, they should not be manifesting this quickly. This is more likely due to carbon monoxide overexposure. Her face is still a bit pale. Carbon monoxide overexposure? Don't you think you're being a bit too optimistic there? I mean, I fainted right after I went into a contaminated zone, even with AD. It could be way too dangerous for you, considering you didn't take a proper shot of... I'm aware of all that, you don't have to remind me. Watase instinctively shut up at Kazami's sharp voice. Damn it, all I did was drive her into a corner. As Watase stood there regretting his words, Kazami's face softened in realization. My apologies, I lost my composure for a moment there. At any rate, let's head back to the control room. Going back to the lower floor is no longer an option. Right. Yeah. Kazami then started walking on ahead, followed shortly afterwards by Watase and Jun. So that dosage of AD really hadn't been enough for her. Though injecting oneself with a drug stored in a damaged container was already in and of itself extremely dangerous, we need to find some AD on the double. Watase then whispered into Jun's ear, Moribei, Tachibana looks like she's having a real hard time. We have to support her. I know that already, I know that. Watase and Jun nodded at each other and quickly marched toward the control room. And with that, we need to wrap this episode up here. Man, we've been dying a lot recently, haven't we? Damn, that one took us back quite far. I'm gonna have to keep different save points for every, at least, red decision. Because, yeah. Anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.